Yo, how are we doing, everybody? So today I'm doing a boss guide for Alzadaal's Legacy. Now, the first boss here, Ambujam, is pretty straightforward. He doesn't do too much damage and his attacks are pretty simple. The first one here, Big Wave, this is just going to deal damage to everyone. So damage mitigation like Reprisal, and make sure to heal on top of this as it is a bleed debuff that it's going to throw onto you. But while you're still worrying about that, he's going to throw this tentacle under the water, and you have to watch out for it. Where you see the water moving is the unsafe side. You want to move to the opposite side of the arena in order to avoid that attack. Now, it's definitely not too bad. It can be definitely difficult if you're not paying attention and you're just looking on the side where the tentacle is, but no, it doesn't matter where the tentacles are, it depends on where they end up. So again, you have to be paying attention. On this, there's two tentacles this time, so it's really like, do I need to be on the north side or do I need to be on the south side? It is not going to be safe on both sides. One of those sides is going to be completely covered. If you have to take damage, it's better to get hit by only one of the blasts instead of both. And right here, Toxic Fountain, this is the last attack. Just go into the final circle, wait for the second one to go off, and then you can go into that, and you will be perfectly fine. After that, the boss is just going to repeat its attacks. It's very straightforward, not a problem. So yeah, if you've gotten through them before, you will get through all of it just fine. Now, going into the second boss, this is going to be the Armored Chariot. This guy is, I wouldn't say too much more difficult, because it definitely is going to be showing you where you need to stand, but it can get a little bit tricky. So first off with the articulated bits, just don't stand in the boss's circle. If you're standing inside the boss, you will take damage. But then the boss will have these shields around it. Don't stand in front of the shields. Stand where the shields aren't. And then after that shot, go to where the shields were, because the shields are going to move, and that's where the second blast is going to come out. You can also look at the hands, because there's these hands on the outside of the arena, and they will either have 1 dot marker or 2 dot markers. Obviously, 1 goes first and 2 goes second, but again, that's outside of the arena. I think it's much easier to just look at the boss. That attack there was just raid-wide damage, which again, just heal through that, not a big deal. But right here with this articulated bits, there are more hands this time. So again, just like before, you do want to make sure that you're standing where the shields are not, but you have to pay a little bit more attention to the hands that are outside, as they are covering more space. So if you're standing next to the two hands, you might die there. So yeah, very, very damaging, that attack, but you can react to it. You can run out of the laser, but you will be taking damage over time. Now, the final boss here is Kapi Kulu, who, while I don't think they deal quite as much damage as the Armored Chariot with those giant lasers you were looking out for, they do summon these spikes here on the outside of the arena, and you definitely have to look out for those. There's some tiles in the center of the arena that will eventually get spikes as well, so do look out for where you're standing. The spin out attack, there's nothing you can do to avoid this. You're going to be wound, and now you have this cursor. The cursor isn't where you're going to go immediately, but where you eventually will go. You're controlling the momentum of the spin. This first one's not too bad. It ends pretty quickly. So as long as you have that arrow pointing away from the spikes, you should be fine. And then right here, the Cruel Slice, that is just a tank buster. So if you're the tank, just use your mitigations. If you're the healer, make sure they're at near full HP so they don't die suddenly out of nowhere. And then yeah, just a raid wide, not really anything to worry about. There's no damage over time, no bleeding like the first boss was doing. And then here we have Wild Weave. So there's going to be these green and yellow threads. The Power Surge is going to connect to one of the colors. He's doing yellow, so you want to be on the opposite color. So since this time it was yellow, we want to be standing on green. If you're standing on the yellow ones, you will just get blown up. And again, it is random, so you do have to look to see which one the boss is targeting. And then yeah, Magnitude Opus is just stack. Everyone has to stack, which if you've made it to Endwalker, I'm sure you've stood in so many of those just fine. Now right here is the second spin-off. This one lasts much longer than the first one. Personally here at the time, I was using my mouse to control it, and I'm also using the legacy camera, so I was having a bit of trouble here. I do avoid the first blast as the tank is going to completely cover the center, but unfortunately I kind of lost control, and I'm going to go into these spikes here, and the spikes deal damage over time. I'm also going to eat the boss's attack and get a vulnerability stack. Very, very damaging, but if you're a tank, it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, very tough stuff. And yeah, the boss just repeats their attacks after that. I would suggest using your keyboard instead of trying to use the mouse to move. That might help. But yeah, that is this guide. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and peace.